and welcome to our Mummy's Love video. And today we're going to be talking about something that I wasn't really that much aware of way back in the day when I had my kids, but I started to attend some newborn care classes, and that's when I really found out a little bit more about SIDS and what it meant, and it seemed so scary. And knowing that by breastfeeding your baby, it dramatically reduces, actually by half, the chance of having SIDS, which SIDS, basically what it means is sudden infant death syndrome, and it's the #1 cause of death for newborns from 0 to 4 months. In fact, in 2016, 3,600 babies died because of SIDS. And SIDS, the hard thing about it is really unknown why the baby passes away. It's mostly linked to do with the respiratory system. So something happens where the baby forgets to breathe, basically, or where the baby's not able to breathe, and that causes death. But there's other causes as well. It's basically where really there's no explanation and there's not really any way that it could have been avoided. But we do know there's a lot of things that you can do as a mom, and especially breastfeeding is one of those major things that can make a huge difference in regards to SIDS. So what are the risk factors regarding SIDS? Like, why does it happen? Why are babies passing away due to SIDS? Well, it's basically because it's a critical period of development for your baby. So a lot of things aren't exactly functioning the way they're supposed to yet. So there's things that your baby still needs to learn, or that your baby's body needs to develop, okay, to be able to function 100%. And a lot of those things can happen, so basically because of defects in brain development, infections in the baby's respiratory system, and that usually a lot of the deaths in SIDS happen when the baby is sleeping. And that's because there's something called sleep apnea, where the baby goes into like a deep sleep and then the baby forgets to breathe. So really it's a good thing when breastfed babies that do get up very often, especially during the night, to breastfeed. That's a great thing. It's actually like a survival mechanism that your baby does without even knowing. And that's awesome, because when babies are breastfed, they don't go into such a deep sleep, because it's not like their stomach has to go into like a really big process of digestion, because digestion is very easy for babies when they're breastfed, versus than when they're formula fed, because their body does so much work. It sends the baby into a deep sleep, and most of the baby's blood goes into the gut and the stomach to try and process all that formula. But also things like low birth weight can affect also SIDS. Babies that are born in multiples, usually because they're born smaller too. And there's also things that can trigger SIDS in your lifestyle, actually, and the way that mom, does things. Things like mothers who smoke. Babies that receive secondhand smoke are more likely to get SIDS. Babies that, again, nursing on formula. Babies that are overheating, so if you have too much blankets on them, also that can happen to a lot too when you take them out on the stroller, because the sun's outside, there's heat outside anyway, and you have blankets or a very thick pajama or something like that, or a hat. Overheating basically can cause SIDS too. Using old mattresses or mattresses that are too soft, cribs that have like other objects and things like that, and babies that sleep on their stomach or on their side also are more likely to get SIDS. But like I said, breastfeeding is the #1 thing that you can do to help prevent SIDS is breastfeeding. So that's awesome to know. And basically the reason for that is because it helps to boost brain development. So that's the primary function of breastfeeding. It helps for the brain to be able to develop. So it also helps to establish that the central nervous system, which again has to do a lot with how your baby is able to sleep and control their respiratory system. So those things are huge, especially when it comes to SIDS. Also, it strengthens their immune system so that they're not exposed to like viruses, especially viruses that can affect the airways and things like that, so congestions and things like that. And babies that are breastfed, they're very, very unlikely to get those things, because breast milk has a lot of antibodies and things like that to help them fight those things off. Breastfeeding promotes better sleep and what we call periodic sleeping schedules. So the baby gets up little and often, And that's basically the way that babies function the best in order to be able to avoid things like SIDS. And it increases maternal awareness because you're spending more time with your baby. So things like co-sleeping or room sharing or bed sharing are awesome things in regards to avoiding SIDS because you're a lot more aware of what's going on with your baby. And also, one of the main things too is the support in regards to suck and swallow coordination. When your baby latches, they strengthen all their jaw, everything in their mouth, everything here in their throat, and it opens up their airways. It really makes a huge difference in them being able to control those airways and for their respiratory system to be able to flow better. So that's huge, and your baby definitely will be able to strengthen that very quickly when they're latched on pretty much all day and you're breastfeeding on demand. And other ways, like I said, in regards to your lifestyle that you can help with SIDS too, is make sure that you're not smoking, that you're not drinking alcohol, you're not doing drugs. Don't expose your baby to secondhand smoke, so other people that are around you that are smoking. And make sure that you go to the pediatrician, you're visiting your doctor, you're getting your baby immunized so that they're not exposed to viruses and infections and things like that. And in regards to your sleeping environment, I strongly recommend this, and I'll do another post in regards to this because it's something that's pretty huge, but it's being able to co-sleep or bed share. That again reduces 50% chance of SIDS because you're so close to your baby. By doing skin to skin contact with your baby, it regulates your baby's nervous system, it regulates your temperature. So many things in regards to your baby. Skin to skin is super important with your baby, and that again makes you so much less likely to be able to experience something like SIDS. Also, make sure that your baby sleeps on their back, that your baby is on a firm mattress, whether that's your mattress or their mattress on their crib. And also avoid putting stuffed toys and pillows and blankets and stuff like that. Your baby should be sleeping on a bare blanket, on a bare crib. And if your baby's sharing with you, he shouldn't have any contact with the blankets. I had to learn pretty much to sleep without a blanket, just a really nice thick pajama, and that meant that my baby was also safer. Also be cautious about bed sharing. Make sure you're using like a barrier or something that blocks the baby from rolling over the bed, and that obviously you're both in a safe condition when you're going to bed, you and your husband, that you're not again under the influence of drugs or alcohol or things like that. And it's always best, I find, if baby sleeps kind of like on the end of the bed, make sure you have one of those barriers, so between the barrier and between you, so that there's no other contact to anybody else, other kids or your spouse or your husband or anybody else. It's just basically barrier, you and baby, and that's the best way for your baby to be able to be safe also. Okay, so I just wanted to share those awesome tips because I know that SIDS is something that we worry about. The media makes it kind of really big, and we do hear a lot. It's surprising how many babies die from SIDS. So let us know what you know about SIDS, what else have you done to be able to implement, things to prevent SIDS. And if you've done room sharing or bed sharing or anything like that, share your experience, because it's something that scares a lot of moms, and they think that the only place that they can have their baby is like in a crib, like not like far away from you, because otherwise they're going to be dependent on you, or you're going to install bad habits, bad sleeping habits. Share your experience, because I think it's important to really share light in regards to the amazing benefits. It has way more benefits than disadvantages than you would probably think. Okay, so share your experiences, mommy, so that we can help each other and really can make a huge difference in preventing SIDS, because once you get your newborn, you want to do everything right, and that's one of the things that you really have to be aware of. Bye-bye, mommies. Besitos.
Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you give us a thumbs up and you share it with another mommy that can find it useful. Also, hit subscribe. That way you'll get to see all our latest amazing videos that we're doing. I've also included below in the description of this video all our links for our social media so that you can follow us and be part of our community, our discounts, our giveaways. Awesome, mommies. Bye.